No light, no warning, no chance to run. The apocalypse starts in silence. It's hard to imagine something as quiet and deadly as a magnetar, a star with a magnetic field so powerful it could wipe out life on Earth in minutes. This cosmic threat isn't science fiction, but a curious and frightening fact of modern astronomy. If the sun were replaced by a magnetar, our planet would plunge into total darkness, freeze quickly, and be bombarded by radiation capable of destroying everything we know, from the atmosphere to power grids. The scariest part: there would be no warning, no chance to react. The light and heat that sustain life would simply vanish, leaving a dark sky and an invisible threat ready to destroy everything. Today we'll unravel this mystery, explore the history and curious facts behind this magnetic monster, and understand why, if this happened, you wouldn't even have time to run. A magnetar is, without exaggeration, one of the most dangerous objects in the universe. It looks small, only about 20 kilometers wide, but it has more mass than our entire Sunday. Yes, you read that right. Something the size of a mid-sized city, carrying enough weight to crush almost anything. What makes it even scarier is its magnetic field. It's trillions of times stronger than Earth's. It's so strong it can distort atoms, break apart matter, and even wipe out all digital information, without ever touching a thing. Just being relatively close would already cause massive damage. It's a curious fact that something invisible to the human eye could destroy everything we know so easily. That magnetic field is the real danger here. It doesn't just affect matter, it warps the space around it. And here's the kicker. A magnetar releases bursts of gamma rays, the most powerful form of energy we know. One single pulse can travel thousands of light years and still be deadly. That means even a faraway magnetar can interfere with satellites, destroy electronics, and even damage Earth's atmosphere. And this isn't just theory. In 2004, a magnetar 50,000 light-years away blasted out a gamma-ray burst that affected sensors here on Earth. Interesting, right? Something so distant had a direct impact on our technology. That gives you a sense of how real this threat is, even if we don't always see it coming. Now think about this. We rely on the sun for everything: light, heat, life itself. But what if it suddenly got replaced by a magnetar? That's the kind of scenario that makes these things so fascinating and terrifying. Magnetars don't shine like the sun. They don't warm anything. They emit silent death. And even if you looked up at the sky, you might not notice anything wrong, until it was too late. That's the real threat. Not just what a magnetar can do, but how it does it. Quietly, invisibly, without warning. There are still many mysteries and curiosities around these cosmic monsters, but one thing is clear. If one ever got close, no one would have time to run. And that brings us to the next question, because if you thought magnetars were dangerous from far away, wait until you see what would happen if one actually took the place of our sun. Imagine this. The sun disappears, and in its place, a magnetar shows up. What would happen? The answer is simple: chaos. First, all sunlight would vanish in exactly 8 minutes. That's how long it takes light from the sun to reach Earth. After that, total darkness. Not just at night, all the time. And without light, temperatures would drop fast. In just a few days, Earth would turn into a frozen ball where nothing could survive. But here's the curious part. The cold wouldn't even be the worst of it. The real danger would be the insane radiation coming from the magnetar. Gamma rays at such high levels they destroy all life instantly. It's like putting the entire planet inside a cosmic microwave. Except instead of cooking things, it just erases them. Now think about the air we breathe. Earth's atmosphere works like a shield. It blocks harmful radiation, traps heat, and allows life to exist. But with a magnetar nearby, that shield would be ripped apart like paper. The radiation would tear through the protective layers of the planet, And without an atmosphere, there'd be no air left to breathe. Satellites would fall. Power grids would shut down. All technology would collapse. It's a curious fact how something that doesn't even look dangerous, since you wouldn't see it glowing, could destroy everything in just days. Earth would be attacked silently, with no visible explosions. Just cold death and the collapse of everything we know. And most of it would happen so fast, no government would even have time to react. But there's one more detail most people don't think about. Gravity. A magnetar is so dense that its gravity would pull nearby planets like a weak black hole. Earth's orbit would stop making sense. We could be pulled straight into the magnetar or flung out of the solar system entirely. Hard to imagine something scarier. Space turning into a field of total destruction. No light, no sound, no survival. One interesting fact is that even the moon would shift out of its normal path. And that would bring more disasters like wild tides and earthquakes. This might sound like science fiction, but it's a real possibility when it comes to magnetars. And the craziest part, we might not even notice it happening until the very last second. But radiation and magnetic force don't wait. And speaking of that, the magnetism of these monsters is even deadlier than gravity. When people think about destruction in space, most imagine gravity crushing everything like a black hole swallowing planets. But with magnetars, gravity isn't the main threat. The real killer is the magnetic field. And here's a fascinating fact. The magnetic field of a magnetar is so powerful, it can tear apart the very structure of matter. Literally. It breaks atoms, rips molecules apart, and makes everything, absolutely everything, stop working the way we know. It's like reality itself is rewritten. If a magnetar got close to Earth, it wouldn't even need to touch us. Its magnetic force alone could shut down all power grids, destroy satellites, and erase every digital file on the planet. All at once. Silent. Invisible. Complete. Now imagine the human body in that situation. Getting close to a magnetar would be a death sentence, not from radiation or lack of oxygen, but from something even stranger. Magnetic death. Sounds extreme, but it's real. The magnetic field is so intense, it would stretch and distort the atoms in your body, tearing you apart molecule by molecule. A human being would be shredded on a subatomic level. No time for pain. Just gone. Here's a disturbing curiosity. Something you can't see could kill you faster and more effectively than any weapon ever built. And the worst part, it would all happen without sound, without light, without warning. Just total collapse, like physics itself had shut off. But this force doesn't just affect living things. It disables everything that runs on electricity. Smartphones, planes, hospitals, the internet. All of it would instantly become useless junk. The interesting part is, even from hundreds of light years away, a magnetar could still mess with our systems if it sent out a strong enough blast. Imagine waking up one day and realizing nothing electronic works, with no explanation. That almost happened. In 2004, a pulse from a magnetar interfered with sensors here on Earth, even from an incredibly far distance. If it had been closer, the impact would have been devastating. That's one of the greatest mysteries about these objects. How an invisible force with no smell or color can wipe out everything we rely on. That's why magnetars are so dangerous. It's not just what they do, it's how they do it. Silently, with a kind of power we're only beginning to understand. And if you thought that was scary, well, we've already been hit once, and the story behind it might shock you even more. It might sound like an exaggeration, but magnetars have already affected Earth, even from insanely far away. One of the scariest examples happened in 2004. That year, a magnetar located about 50,000 light-years from Earth released a gamma-ray burst so powerful, it actually reached our planet and messed with satellite sensors and monitoring systems. Yes, something on the other side of the galaxy managed to interfere with our technology here without ever moving. One interesting fact: this was the strongest gamma-ray burst ever recorded inside the Milky Way. Now imagine if it had happened just 10 light-years away. We wouldn't be here right now. Earth's atmosphere would have been scorched, and all life would have been wiped out. What's curious is that, even though we often focus on gravity and radiation, the real danger of a magnetar is the element of surprise. Unlike most stars, a magnetar doesn't shine invisible light, so we can't easily spot them or predict when they'll fire off another burst. It's like the universe has hidden deadly traps in plain sight, just waiting. And that's what makes them so mysterious. Even scientists admit we still know very little about how these things really work. Studying them is like trying to understand an earthquake from a single tremor. But one thing is clear: the threat is real. And we've already had proof. That 2004 event was the universe giving us a warning, a reminder that even from far away, these monsters can strike hard. And that wasn't a one-time thing. There have been other, smaller magnetar bursts recorded over the years. Some have caused communication blackouts, magnetic interference, and malfunctions in electronic systems. So far, we've been lucky. None of those explosions happened close enough to cause a full-scale disaster. But it only takes one event, one magnetar in the wrong place at the wrong time to change everything. It's one of those deep space mysteries that reminds us just how fragile our little bubble of safety really is. We live surrounded by forces we barely understand, and some of them could wipe us out without even trying. If a burst from 50,000 light-years away already did that much damage, imagine what would happen if the entire sky changed. What if suddenly you looked up and saw not the sun, but something cold, dark, and deadly? Imagine looking up at the sky one day and not seeing the sun anymore. Instead, there would be a dark, opaque, cold, and silent sphere, a void that emits no light or heat. That's exactly what we would see if a magnetar replaced our sun. There would be no more days, no nights, no colors in the sky. The natural cycle of life would be broken all at once. Daylight would disappear, along with all the energy that keeps ecosystems alive. Earth would plunge into eternal silence and cold, as if someone had pressed a pause button on the planet. But this strange sky wouldn't just be dark. It would be radiating invisible death. The magnetar emits dangerous radiation, mainly gamma rays, that can penetrate the atmosphere and destroy life on the surface. Even though we wouldn't see it with the naked eye, we'd be constantly bombarded by this lethal energy. It's a chilling historical fact to think that something so dangerous could be right above our heads without us noticing. This radiation would affect not only living beings but also all electronic devices, like satellites and communication networks, turning the planet into a ghost town, disconnected and lifeless. There's more. The climate and environment would change completely. Without the sun, there would be no wind, no rain, no weather as we know it. Temperatures would plummet to unimaginable lows, freezing oceans, rivers, and even the air itself. Life on land and in the sea would quickly vanish. The moon, which normally shines by reflecting sunlight, would go dark, with no light to brighten the nights. The starry sky would still be there, but the stars' glow would be overshadowed by the absence of the sun, the light that gives meaning to our days. All of this creates a terrifying and mysterious scenario, the end of life as we know it, plunged into absolute darkness and silence. If this vision makes you uncomfortable, it's important to remember we're talking about a rare cosmic event, and science is still trying to fully understand what these magnetic monsters are capable of. But one thing is certain: the universe is full of mysteries that challenge our understanding, And a magnetar replacing the sun would be one of those historic facts that would forever change everything we know about life and the cosmos. If you want to continue this journey and understand the invisible dangers surrounding us, the next step will reveal what really happens to the planet and everything on it when this swap occurs. Now that you've discovered what a magnetar could do if it replaced the sun, the question remains: did you know such invisible and powerful forces are out there, so close and dangerous? How do you think humanity should prepare for these silent threats from the universe? Are we really ready to face these cosmic mysteries that challenge our understanding? If this video sparked your curiosity and made you think, just imagine how much more there is to learn about space and its darkest secrets. Want to keep exploring this journey of discoveries and mysteries? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss content that goes beyond what you imagine. The universe is full of fascinating facts, chilling curiosities, and mysteries that defy logic. And here, you'll always be one step ahead to understand it all. Ready to join us?